Can we make new highs if tech doesn't resume its leadership role anywhere close to the degree that it had?
As long as tech is a market perform, if tech actually declines, that's going to be hard for the rest of the S&P 500 to compensate. But what we've seen so far, including days like Nvidia and Tesla recently, is that that tech is actually holding its own, but other stocks are starting to show catalysts and signs of life.
Yeah. What about the broadening trade? I mean, look, you look at the Russell, your big call, of course. Week to date's down more than 1%. Really hasn't done much at all. I kept hearing, hey, you got to wait till the Fed cuts. Then you go into the Russell. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, Russell had a big week last week. It's some profit taking now, but I think that there's, this is what bottoms look like. I don't think bottoms are straight up. I know in 2021, energy was bottoming, and it was also very choppy, but eventually made not only new highs, but then basically had a blistering gain in 2020, in the year following. So I think that's a multi-year start for the Russell. It feels choppy, but we're still near all-time highs, and there's a big fundamental case to own small caps.
And you're still not necessarily sticking with the 50% up for small caps, but you still think they could have a huge move because they tend to move quickly.
That's right. I think what investors have to remember is small caps have been out of favor a long time, and they are known for having explosive rallies that are not abnormal. So last year was a 27% rally over really 20 trading days. I think we could see something very big between now and year end. I was hoping it would be after the Fed started the rate easing cycle, but maybe it really has to happen after Election Day. But are the fundamentals getting stronger for small caps? Absolutely, because interest rates are falling, merger activity likely picks up, and the median PE of a Russell 2000 stock is 10 times, 10.7 times. I mean, that's not demanding, especially if we're trying to be sensitive to valuation.
In an electrifying twist of events in the stock market, it seems Nvidia is once again stealing the spotlight. The tech giant, known for pushing boundaries, is soaring with its stock up over 180%. As whispers spread through Wall Street, anticipation builds toward Nvidia's upcoming fiscal year 2025 third quarter results slated for November 20th. The company's remarkable ability to consistently outperform expectations has investors sitting on the edge of their seats. Renowned figures like Jensen Huang and major corporations including Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon are all part of this unfolding narrative. But what's driving this frenzy? And should you jump in before the next big announcement? Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
How about these reports that the U.S. is looking at restricting some AI chips out of Nvidia and AMD to certain countries?
I have a thesis on this, all right? So they're thinking about restricting the ones to the Gulf. They sell almost none, but if you can get out of selling it to the Gulf at a low price and you put those things out in the market right now, NVIDIA is actually going to profit from this. It's actually going to profit because the demand for their stuff is insane. And again, when you're listening to Adobe and you're listening to Shantanu Narayan, you know that you can't get this stuff done unless you have NVIDIA.
What was your take on what Sanjay told you last night?
All right, well, Sanjay's basically, he does a lot of high bandwidth, which is memory, which is data center, but he's doing a lot of NAND, which is good. He's talking about a 2025 move that makes you really want to get invested in PCs, AI PC. He's also spending a fortune, and he's going to own. He's going to open a place in New York. He's got other plants around the country, but around the world. But I just think his business is booming. It is just booming, and I think that people bought it up 19%. It wasn't enough. This stock deserves to be higher, and like it's down 54 cents. So like, did that guy watch? What was he watching? Donald Duck? I mean, Scrooge McDuck? That was a.
It's hard to overlook the magical ride Nvidia has taken its shareholders on this year. Despite market fluctuations, Nvidia's stock has defied gravity like a Stephen Curry three-pointer, arcing through the air before landing effortlessly in the basket. The shares have surged by a staggering 186% in just this calendar year, a testament to the company's robust strategy and execution in the tech world. To comprehend this remarkable ascendancy, look no further than Nvidia's battle-tested record against Wall Street's forecasts. Over the last 5 years, Nvidia has surpassed earnings expectations in all but 2 quarters. Financial wizard and NYU professor Aswat Damodaran attributes this to 2 key factors: the company's strategic acumen in managing financials and the booming demand for its cutting-edge GPUs, which appears to be outpacing even the most optimistic analyst predictions. Nvidia, at its core, is not just gaming the system, it's redefining it. Evidence lies in the ever-increasing demand for its graphics processing units, which is propelling the company to new heights. In a recent earnings call, Nvidia CFO Colette Kress underscored the thriving market for Hopper GPUs, expecting demand to continue escalating into the latter half of the year. And as if this promise wasn't enticing enough, the introduction of Nvidia's new Blackwell chips has tech industry titans like Oracle's Larry Ellison and Tesla's Elon Musk clamoring for more, practically throwing money at CEO Jensen Huang at dinner just for a slice of Nvidia's technological prowess. Adding to this whirlwind, Nvidia's stature in the tech realm is undeniable. The company momentarily overtook Apple with a market capitalization of $3.53 trillion, showcasing its potential to eclipse even the most dominant players. Although it settled slightly behind at $3.47 trillion, the message was clear. Nvidia is a force to be reckoned with, holding substantial influence over the industry's future direction. The saga doesn't stop here. Consider the upcoming earnings season, where Nvidia is destined to make waves, even if not directly reported. Big names like Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta Platforms, Apple, and Amazon are on the path to unveil their financials, leaving Nvidia's influence to hover like a looming shadow. The burning questions on every CEO's mind: what are your AI investments? And do you possess the elite technology requisite to remain competitive? The answer gravitates towards one entity, Nvidia. Let's sprinkle some lighthearted humor into this intense landscape. Imagine investing in Nvidia now. It's like buying front-row tickets to a sold-out concert where the band's encore hasn't even been announced yet. If the band's name is Nvidia, you know it's going to be a killer performance when the stage lights up on November 20th. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
We do have some activity in tech. NASDAQ was down about 1% a moment ago. Shares of ASML dropping sharply on their guidance, and for that we'll turn to Seema Modi. Hey, Seema.
Carl, this is the Dutch microchip equipment maker reporting earnings that came in better than expected, but its guide for 2025 is weaker than what Wall Street had anticipated. It expects 2025 total net sales to be between 30 to 35 billion euros. The Street was expecting around 35.8 billion. And we have comments here from their CEO. While there continues to be a strong development and upside potential in AI, other market segments, he says, are taking longer to recover. It now appears the recovery is more gradual than previously expected. ASML is a key supplier to Nvidia, Taiwan Semi. It makes a very specific microchip that many other companies cannot make. So this will be an interesting read here across the entire semiconductor sector as we watch names like Nvidia trade in record high territory. Guys?
Yeah, although not right now, Seema. Nvidia down 4%, AMD as well. Do you believe it is on this related to this news?
It may be. Expectations have been very high, David, going into earnings season. ASML today, and then we have Taiwan Semi, which reports in about 24 hours. And given the whole story around demand, those comments from Jensen Huang about insane demand for Blackwell, again, expectations have been high.
Yeah. Well, again, Nvidia and AMD both down. Of course, ASML a lot more than that. Seema, thank you. Seema Modi. Would point out as well, you know, when we came into the session this morning, Nvidia was creeping up in market cap towards Apple's 3.5 trillion, but that disparity has actually grown given Nvidia's 4% loss. Apple shares up some 2%, perhaps on some data from IDC we got this morning as well. You can take a look at Nvidia, but Apple shares benefiting from a nice move higher.
Given these unfolding stories, one thing is clear. Nvidia is not just riding the wave of artificial intelligence, it's building it. The company purportedly supplies a whopping 80% to 85% of graphics processing units essential for AI development. As such, the spotlight on its Blackwell chips glows even brighter. These chips are slated to power the next generation of AI servers, promising to transform the tech landscape, and their availability will expand as we head into 2025. No wonder Nvidia's production is already pre-sold for the coming year. Everyone wants a piece of the action. Oracle's chairman aptly encapsulates the sentiment. Please, take more of our money. It's an enduring theme among industry giants. Nvidia's position is not merely secure, it's commanding. Industry analysts like the Motley Fool's Adria Cimino are buzzing about the potential growth trajectory Nvidia could maintain, given the relentless consumer demand and limited competition. Amidst all this, the question lingers. Can Nvidia maintain its momentum? While other tech companies like Microsoft, Meta, and Alphabet rely on Nvidia's products, they simultaneously brace for their earnings reports. The narrative emphasizes Nvidia's indispensable role in their ecosystems, further solidifying its influence. So, where does this leave potential investors? With reins in hand, Nvidia steers into a future brimming with untapped opportunities, showing no signs of faltering. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
I've been sort of talking about this for a bit now, really since, June, July, which is I think Nvidia is going to be strong through this year. But when you get into the first half of next year, my belief is unless you see Microsoft or Amazon or Google or some killer app that everybody needs to have show up that generates a ton of revenues, as well as the profit picture is starting to improve, I think you're going to get into the first 6 months of next year and you're going to go through an AI digestion phase. Now, by the way, for the next 6 quarters, consensus is that NVIDIA revenues grow 7 to 11%. But for the next 3 months, 6 months, do I think things are probably fine there? Absolutely. But, I think you've seen the front of this AI trade with Microsoft, Google, and Amazon being already weak when they reported back their June quarters. Now you've seen the end of that, which is ASML on the other side, missed by 50% on the order books. And so I think that's what people need to keep in mind, because I'm sure as we go through this earnings season, NVIDIA is going to have another beat and raise quarter because they haven't been able to deliver the Blackwell chips that they wanted. So people are going to say, see, I told you the AI trade is fine. But don't forget, we already went through this with COVID, where NVIDIA's revenues were down over 20% year over year after all of these same customers digested their COVID spend. Then this thing called, generative AI came along, and revenues went from down over 20% to up 84% at the beginning of 2021. And so I think, getting the time frames confused, but it went up to over 80% during COVID, from down 20 before COVID. And I think you're going to see a same kind of digestion period as we get through to the other side of this.
All right, Dan, I'm sorry, I was going to say real quick for lay people, what is a warning sign when NVIDIA reports, if there's any? I would imagine it would come in the form of margins, potentially a deterioration in margins. What would you look for? NVIDIA is going to be the last person to see this. And so for me, I try to look out to the front of the food chain. So I'm going to be you're going to see NVIDIA react when Google, Amazon, and Microsoft report. Microsoft in particular to me is very interesting because if you remember last quarter, they missed their Azure numbers. And by the way, that's where OpenAI feeds through the model for Microsoft. And so if there's another problem there, people are not going to like it. Amazon's the other one because they are the biggest of the hyperscalers. And so I'm going to be watching very closely what AWS has to say, because that's going to be the leading indicator of a problem. NVIDIA, much like after that digestion following the COVID buildup, they didn't see it, and people forget. They pre-announced negatively when they were digesting all that COVID buildup. That's, they're not going to see it because their customers on, the front of this, they just want to get as many chips as they can right now, given the Blackwell chips were already delayed.
As Nvidia's story continues to unfold, the potential for growth seems boundless. With a current share price of $141.54 and a dominant presence across the tech industry, Nvidia has positioned itself as a pivotal player, predicting an upward trajectory. Given its savvy navigation of fiscal challenges and the continually rising demand for AI development, investing in Nvidia seems less of a gamble and more of an intelligent decision for long-term gain. Analysts foresee Nvidia thriving as it rolls out its next wave of technological advancements, particularly those related to AI. As reports suggest, the excitement over Nvidia's Blackwell chips is set to redefine market expectations once again, potentially elevating its stock to new highs. Before making investment decisions, consider this. Are you ready to be part of the story when Nvidia potentially reshapes our technological future? The conversation on Nvidia is just getting started, and your insights could add a valuable perspective to the discussion. What are your thoughts? Where do you see Nvidia heading in the tech landscape? Share your perspectives and join us as we watch this narrative evolve. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.